for
Nsem-Pii will honor more, now Nsem so it is. Utie, now share on my YouTube channel.
Be the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Dano Joada and John Dramani Mahama a report, 1,000-page report from Justice Poamai Committee. Barely 2 hours later, and our fellows of Osukwache the letter Beto Abonte said President Ejinani Tumi so and Article 1469 no ama committee no recommendations no the year juma no the year juma ma metoko no emfa na juma nto as Chief Justice no sanfa na juma nto as Supreme Court Judge in December meno okasa Ghana main Chief Justice ya sakere the ojinem papa friend Paul Bafuboni na Dr. Bernard Okoe Boye yetene kan ya che papa Okoe Boye akwa kopiem ewo obi dwumadi a friend Nsem-Pii ye ekosi se ekoso Nsem-Pii 94.7 na obi call show no ene Okoe Boye call show no so no na nsem e ho anu odi ye papa petivo Okoe Boye chirema woni lawyers bi akasa and our court Supreme Court behind the scenes on certain judges akasa na niema ehu onemu kohu ye ne niema otete ya omugina so de yi toko no adi no etifo saa woni ni kuna tukwan ne ye no ye different matter internally ankasa judges na ankasa mu no ebi mo sabotage ni to do you know say ebi mo kra na ebi mo kra se bi ye time no because ebi mo feel say oba court wo kra enche and yi no be ye Chief Justice ti ai so ni akra wo adwuma na ya promote akra na be opinion you see that vibe no Okoe Boye can Nsem wo show no so papa my NTB
There sometimes something must drive you. Me when we're in power, the first time I had an issue with one minister was when I sat on peace and said that radio gold for closing it, I don't agree with it when I was an MP. And the reason was very simple. Me see, if we are taking the matter, their infractions to a court, and the court had ordered that they should close radio gold, fine. But where they are perceived to be your adversaries, and you use an appointee who is part of your government to close it, Obi, although they are also my adversaries in court, I don't stand with this. There's a history, Obi. There are 3 arms of government. In UK, the arm of government that is supreme is Parliament. If the courts give a ruling and Parliament doesn't agree, or want to make legislation, no one will do the court.
The ruling of the court.
But in Ghana, the arm that is supreme, Obi, you're a lawyer, is the judiciary.
Sure.
So the only arm that can rule that a decision by Parliament should be undone, or a decision by the cabinet executive should be undone, is the judiciary.
Yes.
Now, if you find yourself in a position where you give ruling on a decision taken by the executive, then it becomes extremely dangerous if the constitutional arrangement is that the executive is the one that will receive a petition about you, constitute, forward it to a council of state, which is largely formed by the executive, and then also a committee formed and chaired by one appointed by the president. It was a dangerous arrangement in the constitution. But if you understand context, I get where it's coming from. When we started as a fresh democracy, we put stability over, how do you call it, independence. Because imagine you have a new democracy where president says A, Chief Justice says to hell with you. Yes. But after 33 years, these threats have started emerging. And you see, one interesting thing is that this is not the first time the executive, in the form of a political party then when they were in opposition, had problems with political cases that had political connotations. The famous, there are many ways of killing a cat. Obi, history is important too. There was a political party in Ghana whose chairman, their leader, said that one particular Chief Justice, because of her rulings and where she came from, she had to bow. Not because she had taken a bribe. Obi, you see, we the online man, Okoe Boye, says, judge me, you be saying, first thing I make sure say, because I've heard some of my NDC brothers say that, go and check the last post they did, the confidence in the judiciary was low. They were a corrupt institution. Obi, Has that corruption got to do with traveling with a husband or with a child? It has to do with their behavior sometimes, some of them.
It's not just traveling, the per diem.
Oh, I'll come there. But my point is that what the ordinary Ghanaian listening to Okoe Boye this afternoon wishes for or would have been excited about is for a judge who's going to take money and not letting the law work, but all the bribes. You see, you're permanent. And you make President Mama, Nyamin Shirao, Unkwaso. But when you have a history of being a political party, much Moody, Mameno, and some judges were problem in opposition. Look, President Obama met lawyers. These are all facts, and said, "I didn't know any balance. Oh, I was a Muslim Meshamubi, Nanya balance. Then balance in Ayakano. Service political party balance. Obi. There's a history. So the point I'm making is, I wish those people who were around John Mills, may so rest in peace. I wish my uncle John Hama had some of them. Why am I saying so? There were people who told President Mills that sack Wood, Georgina, she has to go. In fact, to the extent that on you be beside no question face to face, meet the press. And our papa say, why are you still keeping Georgina Wood? And when I say, look, young man, okay, papa na come to you because I want the president can say, look at my face. Can you see my face? Do I look like a cat hunter?
A cat hunter.
And look, the summary of there are many ways of killing a cat. Only the child. It means that if you want to get her out, you can find a way to what? Get her out. Now, Obi.
Georgina Wood is a lady.
Obi, yes. Obi, Unim.
Yes.
I feel sad for Justice Tokono because I know in my heart, says Sebi, on your political activists like Okoe Boye. I don't want to swear, but I know, say, Mami Way, me sure, say, apart from going to a polling booth vote, she had nothing to do with politicians. But I see that largely her sins were two. The mere fact that Akufo-Addo appointed her is one of her sins. Oh, say me so me come at you. Say I can't agree. Obi. Another sin that this woman committed, in fact there were three, is that when you talk to people, Obi, me a doctor, and so I speak to some lawyers. Apparently, Ghana ha, your culture be. Only akwala in court, a juma be a o age, ever from Kakra, Obe mu ebi away 10 years. Now, ebi mu omu 20 years. Now ebi overall boss be mawa, eya sem problem. I've talked to some people who tell me that some of the problem she had was that she was relatively young compared to some of
there were other senior judges on the Supreme Court bench.
We must get the context. And the third one is the first time I started asking my colleagues, who is this woman, was at the 2020 election petition. Obi, some of her questions were pointing. Or bisa question per question no unravel nyama. Now ultimately won't say politicians now a particular position no mamene approach no na enye one day. Ghana na eti aye free. Na unanimous FC obi free. Oh, mami we nyame buano. You have politicians who went to court to play a psychological game because I'm a physician. They lost an election because they want their followers not to lose hope. They went to court saying that we didn't lose, we were robbed. When they got to the court, Obi, even if it had been Fachemi, footballers, doctors, if I was a Supreme Court judge, the case was so clear. Say, Obi, so unlike 2012, Akufo-Addo, where there was 5-4, all the decisions were split because some of the cases we made that. Ultimately say, hey, I do where I say, yet not just a whole presiding officer one sign. No, what the law says that shall sign. Those things didn't happen in 2020. It would have been unanimous even for footballers, doctors, teachers, and nurses. Now, so I politics into Obi person who say, oh, you're winning, and I'm no umpire. They say, oh, court judges waiting now, only a unanimous FC. Obi. That thing had a way of putting them in the bad light to some of their followers. There's a background. And no one just say some of them Sebi Omoko and some money by the Ebeji. And I will not mention the lawyer's name. There's an interesting coincidence. Lawyer na Justice Tokono Tabisan say, Papa, they all can yen straight to the point in the sometimes opening the court or behaving the way as a mammy way hammy. Mammy way doing office or Yakwako Tokono committee. Lawyer, only the petitioners. Obi, Sebi, you know, it's not a coincidence. Or the Bamina Same and a che complainant na odi adi buy no ono na odi nenim na obi oh mobile say ya pamo yesi dem e buy ya obi sebi o sebi fa chemi enye say sebi ukofa 2 kura na odi 2 kwan fa chemi fa chemi
sure
ba ukura odi ni ti fie na obi nsem I'm coming obi Nsem-Pii I'm coming no obi sebi the other heads unim say Justice Tokonu was a head of an arm of government.
Sure.
All the 3 heads, they don't enjoy exactly the same thing, but they try to make sure that at least some of the things they enjoy. I'll give you an example. All of them retire on their salary.
Yes.
Abambagui retires on salary.
Yes.
That's not the point.
Oh, President Mahama, before he came, he was taking the salary of the city president, not even when he was president too. Justice Tokonu retires on salary. The other arm, when they are traveling, don't they travel with their spouse? Oh, God have mercy.
That is not the
so
point.
If Obi see the contradiction, President Mama took choir and I grant him Aunia Boni or the Yemami Lodina as on some of the children took choir. Sebi wa ye juma di ama nyami dina duha enya boni e bani saying na mami wa ye law juma over 40 years. Oh please Obi.
No, but the travel policy allows the per diem.
Obi,
Wow, but please.
What am on so ono when you adrian.
Yes.
Ono nse
Who's even
Yeah.
Now only bibi me the lawyer you go to Bonkomo.
Yeah.
The lawyer for Justice Tokonu.
Sure.
Or me uncle to me friend. I see Dr. Okoe Boye, Mami Kache Bibi. Yeah, the policy to panel name say policy judiciary council judicial service. Our former chief justice are usually say, oh, to choir. Oh, the spouse echo. But the Emma or Musisa can say, instead of spouse, you can go with one person of your choosing. Yeah, chief justice bia. No, not by divine way, no, or any spouse. And Jalina Koye said, yeah, trust spouse, bounce on Nibi. And I say, okay, and I made it. Now be a one, yeah, Casa up to a no NDC person is referring to the travel policy of the judiciary. Obi, I want to dare the judicial service within 48 hours. They should publish as we speak. What's his name? Bafuboni.
Yes.
Acting. What to call me? So to call Minister Waba. Policy on original so the 200 per diem. We want to see that policy. Obi. Oh, Obi. Let me tell you something. Now, there are 2 categories of people. Pray that the Lord will have mercy on you. A widow and a woman who sits in judgment are ordinary query.
How Jesus
Obi,
Christ.
now him. She never had a palm. No, Obi or judge penny. You can't say the Bible. Yes, you the kum. Sebi, and you be but no kuma to coin. Meanwhile, more was your mutual letter. The president who has written to sack Justice Tokonu because Tokonu told the husband travels with the wife.
That's not the point.
Now, Obi,
No.
Again, look.
Obi,
let me complete. I will dare state protocol and those who handle presidential travel. I dare them. They should bring travels made by Lodina Imame's first term, not even this term. And I challenge them, say, on paper, documents on the state will make provision for per diem. Obi, now, now you see, one of the ways to know, say, Obi per se on causing mischief. Now, and you say, or a solid case, so they go after a chief justice, is to start laying hands on straw. Share the other one.
Transfer.
Now, transfer, no, Obi, before I even come to transfer, recommendation, Obi, Middle Justice lawyer, you go to call, or see, my men say, or no lawyer head of the judicial service, or the Supreme Court is born common, or manati say, cases no bomunim, any manu, a jumano minimum. So ideally, omunya some numbers are a bit bomb a jumano ako kama because people complain the case is niche. And are presenting this feedback from them by way of recommendation or status report to the president. And the president said, well, if this is it, then go through the motions so that we can know how to beef up the numbers.
Oh, Okoe Boye,
now, Obi,
I don't want to talk about it.
You see, discretion, Obi, discretion. When you write a recommendation Is it a discretionary power that is enforceable and actually actuated?
No.
When you be ya battle say Oko, but you know what? I would like to console the woman with the story of Lot and Abraham. When Abraham realized, say, his followers and Lot's men were fighting, because his nephew, he called him, say, come, watch the north, east, west, and south. Choose where you want. And he chose what physically looked like the best place. But when he went there with his men, what did God tell Abraham? God said, now look west, look east, north, and south, including by extension where Lot was. The one who ultimately gives rewards or punishes is the Almighty. If this woman is guilty, obviously she's guilty before John Mahama. But if before the maker of the heavens and earth, this woman is not, the end will be better than this today. She should take heart. Now, you know, human beings, we don't learn. My senior brother, Domelovlo, when he was removed, many people rose to fight for him. If I were him, I should have denied being included in this panel. Because you were removed from office before your time. And you were asked to be part of a process that will get someone out before their time. If I were him, I would have rescinded or, how do you call it?
Opted out of the committee.
Yes. And if only he's the one who wrote that on Facebook, when I saw it, I said, wow, the gods would speak definitely. That the battle is what? Done. The strife is over. Why do you describe this as a strife? When you are going through a process to determine right or wrong, why do you call it a strife? I'm not surprised because he has a history. And I'm not saying it's bitter, but he feels, and it looks so, that he feels that he was removed unjustifiably. So if you are saying that there is a strife for someone who you think was also active those days, do I call it a vendetta, Obi? Now, Obi, what I'll say going forward, say, those who say the law is the law, you know the interesting thing, when Charlotte Osei was removed, was the law the law?
Charlotte didn't say that.
But Obi, although the law was the law, we had people, including John Mahama and the NDC, who said that there is mischief behind this process. Is that not it? If then the law, being the law, could be mischievous, what shows that today the law being the law is also not mischievous? But like I said, the woman, wherever she is, should take heart, like David strengthened himself in the Lord. Just as Domelovlo down the line sat in judgment, trying to do things that was done to him, maybe she might also sit in judgment tomorrow. She should take heart.
Okoe saying Nsem-Pii.